Okay, MIG really coming together now. It comes alive, isn't it? You get decals onto your model and all of a sudden it's like pop and everything comes together. And this is one of those great examples because when you look at it now, hopefully you can see it's got like a blue tint. And this is that tint we were looking for right the way through this, and now we can actually see it, so that's quite nice. You might also notice we've done the nose, so a quick mask up job, and to be honest we came in with a little bit of X24 just to make the nose, to give it the radar colour. Sprayed it neat, gives it texture, and then that way with the weathering it'll stick to it, blah blah blah, you all know the ways. So, before we come in with the wash, because that's next up, what we need to do is actually just pop the engines in the back. I've also given this a flat coat right the way over it just to seal the decals in. That's been ongoing. And I wanted to talk to you about these engines. To be honest, I did it on last night's live show. We were talking about it, but we can show it a lot more in depth now. Trying to line all this up is really complicated, and it is the only drawback, I think, to the ICM kits. Whilst I love the kits, the detail, the fit, and everything's fantastic, instructions, yeah, a little bit wayward. All right, so from that point of view, what we have, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to try and show on here, but I'll do my best. We have two lots of nozzles, okay? You have these larger parts, these ones down in here, okay? And they are the outer ones, and you've got these thinner ones with tabs on, which are going to go on the inside, and then we've got two more little ones. Now, these outer ones, you might notice we've got two tabs on there, and then we've got, what do we got on there? 3 on there, and there's a 4 or even 5 tabs on that one. That's a 3 as well, sorry, and then this one here is a 3. These coincide to the little chinks, the little notches in the back here, and where they go. Now if you don't get them perfectly lined up, it doesn't go, and if you're like me and just cut them all off the sprues, yeah, now you've left a little bit of a problem. Also, the inner ones, the way that these fit in can be a little bit troublesome just trying to get these in. So I played with it a little bit last night live, and then I'm hoping this will then see us through. Now you might notice in the end here, we've got slots. If I can get this to go, you see we've got a slot at the top, there's a slot down in there, and there's a slot over there, and these big ones fit in these said slots, but they go side to side. So, and they can be awkward as hell to get in. Okay, they just don't like to sit perhaps as nice as I would hope. So what I'm going to try and do is do it slightly different this time. We're going to come in from the side, and again you're trying to find the slots and how they go and all these different things, and they do have a nasty habit of not fitting. Okay, so just trying to get it into the said slot, and to be honest with you, I've had real trouble. So this is what we had last time. I come along and literally snip them off. Okay, so we're just going to come in here and we're going to snip these off, and we're going to do it old school ourselves. Now the reason for doing it this way is just that it enables us to get a nicer, better fit with these nozzle sections, and then we can just play with it as is required, and then that way just gives us a little bit more wiggle room down in here. So we're just going to take these tabs all off. We're still going to put them all in the same area. It's just that I think I can do a better job. Which is famous last words, I know, especially in a hobby like this, with a kit like this, which actually is very nice. The other thing as well, notice a tiny little bit of flash just on the end. Okay. Also, strange that I do use this stuff, but I do. I can get it out. Alright, let's just grab the needle. This is the glue, which is a nice, slow weld action glue. Okay, if you haven't seen me use it, it's actually the Contactia Professional, which is Revel's glue. But the great thing is, on a little nozzle like this, which is great because you can just put it exactly where you want it, just around on the outside. Okay, then what we're going to do is actually line up what we had before with these, but now they fit beautifully, and you've got the wiggle room to be able to line them up exactly how you want. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could go to above like this, and then go to the lower sections. Again, just trying to get these to go in and line up can be a little bit of a headache. And to be honest, it's that headache which gave us a little bit of a hard time last time getting these to go, because what it is, there's actually an overlap to them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove one of these said overlaps just to make this all fit easier, and so it doesn't give me as much as a hard time as it did before. That's looking, you might notice at the end here, that camera, you see this one is all over the place, and now that one is perfectly round. And that's what I wanted to do, and to be honest, to show you live on camera, because again, it was fighting me all the way through. Now, the thing is with here, we've got these notches at the top, so now you've got to line up your notches with your notches. And again, it can be a little bit problematic, so we just start at the top, so we put a little bit of this glue in here. The reason for using this glue, to be honest, is just it's a slower setting glue, so hopefully it just gives us a little bit more wiggle room to get round in here. But what you need to do is roughly line these up and also get them to go in. Okay, they can be a little bit troublesome to get these in. So that's there, and then this one has got a 3 tooth. So we're looking for a 3 tooth. That one's just going to go in here. And again, like there, it just doesn't seem to want to line up exactly brilliantly. So what we're going to do, we're going to try another one. Again, that one doesn't seem to want to do it. And then you find one that does, and then that one fits. And it is literally like this all the way around. So you come in, and that's why we're using this other glue. Just to help get these all in and align, so you can sort of place in. See what happens, see if it's any good. So not liking that one, let's try that one in here. Again, this would be so much easier if I hadn't cut them all off, honest. Again, it's not quite going, so this is what we ended up doing last time, and we're just going to nick out these little guys here. So we just snip out those guys, and what we do, we're going to come in here and weather up afterwards. Ow, they fit. Okay, and that's our nozzles in on the end. So we have got to do a little bit of work to tidy them up, but I wanted to show that because, to be honest with you, this is one of those ones where if you follow the instructions to the T, I'm sure it makes perfect sense. But if you're like me and you're a little bit overzealous, you've cut them all off the sprues, you've got no idea where to go in, and it's one of those things of making them all fit. But there you go, that is on there now, and it's really starting to take shape. Got no problem, it's got a little bit of a gap there, so we're just going to tie him in just a little bit, make him a little bit smaller. That's looking good, all of those. But we are going to go in there, we'll take care of all the little gaps and everything else like that. So next up is going to be the wash time. You've seen me do this a million times before, but we'll show you again. Let me just grab a little cup. Usual thing, it's Russian, it's dirty, dark dirt. Tend to use it for all aircraft colours anyway. But there we go, this is the standard Flory Models dark dirt wash. Decant it into a separate little container. Okay, because you don't want to cross-contaminate this afterwards, throw it away, and you'll be good to go. Alright, then we're going to use a nice big old brush, and then we are literally going to stick this everywhere over the entire model. So this has had a flat coat, so it should dry and give us a nice textured look and effect to everything, but we want this to be really dirty and messy. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with the dark dirt to start with, and then, to be honest with you, the chances are we're going to come in with lots of other different colours and shades and hues of darker colours, maybe even black, which I don't usually like black, but on here we want it to be everything, but what we want to do is make sure that this is all completely covered. Don't leave a clean spot anywhere. That means on these fences, on the wings, top sides, bottom sides, all the rest of it, and then right the way through. Because again, this is going to be nice and weathered and rough as hell. This is over a flat coat, so you might hear it sounds really scratchy. And that is the point of this. Okay, so I'm just coming down and in. Okay, so just take some from there. And then, to be honest, we are literally going to run this everywhere. So this will go over the metal sides, over your black areas, over absolutely everything, apart from those bits you've just done with those nozzles, because ideally you want to let them dry before you come in here with paints and wets. Okay, so we're just going to continue this, brushing it right the way around. Now, a lot of people say, Phil, why'd you brush it? Brush it because I don't get it anywhere I don't want it. But actually, on this particular occasion, I want this everywhere. So I'm going to stick it in the wheel wells, everything apart from the intakes. The intakes I'm going to avoid because I don't really want to get dirty intakes, or not with this type of weathering anyway. Okay, so we're just going to put lashings and lashings of this round, absolutely everything. So don't forget to do the metals as well. It'll polish the metals, it'll make them look even nicer. Okay, because it'll buff the actual metal surface, and the particles in the clay actually aid all of that as well. Okay, but I'd say my biggest tip for this is make sure your surface is totally dry. If you're happy it's totally dry and it's been drying for at least 24 hours, then you're good to go right the way over this, and just make sure you cover everywhere so it's even, because if you have got a clean spot, you will notice it. Okay, the clean spot is something perhaps you don't want in this particular case. Okay, so don't forget, if you don't like it, usual thing, just wash it off, start again, go over it with another colour, whichever you want to do. Okay. This will take around about 20 minutes to dry, and then once it's dry we'll just get straight in there and we'll wipe it away, and then we're going to sand, buff and everything else we want to give us the type of look we're looking for. So right over it, absolutely everywhere. So we go around the nose section. Okay. So a little bit more, and you can see this is drying off already. So at the same time we've done these, we've also got to do everywhere else. So we're down in here, we've got the tail planes, we've got the pylons, we've got the flaps, all these areas, and they're all going to need a wash as well. So we're going to go right over with these, exactly the same thing, and everything gets it. So if you want to do the gear, the wheels, to be honest I'm going to do the wheels as well. Okay, just do that like that, stick up against it. So things like down in here we've got the wheels, going to go right the way over the tyres, the hubs, all this stuff. So you can do the gear legs, everything you want to do to give a nice grime. And this is the first stage of it, so we can come in a little bit later on, and said before, with different shades and hues and pigments and all this different stuff. We're going to still got to come in with oils. This is just literally phase 2 of the weathering. Phase 1 was the pre-shading, so that's done and is in there, and then phase 2 is the wash. Phase 3 will probably be in with oils, and then the final stage will be in with pigment and polishing and things like that. So that's it. So we're just going to carry on putting this right the way over the model. Okay, so the wash has been drying now for a good couple of hours, and as you can see, it's totally dry everywhere. And to be honest, it's not a bad looking thing already. Anyway, we're going to do the usual way. There's a couple of different ways of taking the wash off. Normally you're going to be involving moisture, rehydrating the clay and wiping it off. But if you wanted to, you could just come in with a sander. Okay, so we just got a normal blue sander, and you can wear into this. Now the whole point is we've gone over a flat coat, so if you wanted to give it a really dirty, grimy look, that's how we go about it, okay? Because the thing is, we don't want it too clean, so we can sand it clean. So obviously, if you've got an old worn down sander like this, or failing that, you can take one of our weathering sticks, and that will just do the same thing, and you can just wear into it, okay, and give you any type of effect you want. Okay, so we're just going to wear into this. Okay, so we're just picking out centers of panel so we can leave the grime in these other areas. Okay, and that's the thing with the wash, it's very universal, different ways of achieving the same things. And obviously we've got raised panel lining in here. Now the trouble with raised panel lining is the wash you'll take out. So nice little trick, if you ever get raised panel lines with the wash, is to sand it off. Okay, so you can just literally sand it away like this, and you don't affect that all important detail, and it still remains in here just like that. Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to do with this guy, to be honest, is sanding it back. And again, this is going to help with our multi-phased look to everything. Okay, and then down the back and the spine in these areas. And this is the type of weathered look I'm going for. Okay, I don't want anything too clean, I want it to be in, but if we wanted to, we can sand a little bit more in the centers of the patches just to wear it down in different areas. But this is that type of grime and dirtiness I'm going for this particular model right the way through. So what we're going to do is carry on doing exactly the same as we're doing here. We are literally just going to sand it all back bit by bit. Okay, if you get a stubborn bit, don't worry about it too much, just have a break from it, go somewhere else. Okay, and again we can go right over these decals, and this is the other thing, great thing, obviously we can wear and weather the decal exactly the same time as we're doing everything else. So we can just take it back a notch. Okay, just like this right the way through. Okay, and that is literally how we're going to go about getting it all off. Okay, so again, the tissue does come in because what we can do is just polish it, buff it, get rid of anything else. It's still coming away. Okay, just to tidy up some areas. Okay, but that really just to show you how to take and get raised panel lining. If you ever got it and you wanted to use a wash, you can do it this way, and as you can see, it works really, really well just like that. So what I'm going to do, continue rest of the model, get it all off, and then we'll see what we've got at the end. Okay, so the wash is all coming off really nicely. Hopefully, as you can see, we've got this nice, worn, mottled down effect just like that, and it's coming down really, really nice. Now, as you can see on the tail system, down on here, we've also got very nicely worn in. The markings are worn and everything else, but I wanted to show you exactly how we're doing this on different areas and when it gets a little bit tight in this rear one. So same thing again, we're still using the sponge. So we've got down here, which is a worn down blue sponge. Okay, and we're just lightly rubbing over. Okay, and again, when you're going over certain details, such as raised, just want to be a little bit mindful and obviously back off the pressure just a little bit. Okay, but a lot of this sort of staining work that you can see down in here and things like that is what we want to keep. So don't go too mad on that, because they're all nice things where we can just work with it. Okay, just literally like that. Okay, so then that's in, and then we're just coming across dry cloth just to buff. Okay, and that is literally it. And then when you're into tight areas just down under here, if we show you on the close-up, we'll just work our way through. You can see that we start in there and we're just working our way around. And to start with, it's just getting probably around about 75% of all this off. Okay, and then when you get to this sort of level, then you can start to be a little bit more refined with it. So we're going up and down motions, okay, and then obviously over decals, over some areas, and now we're just being a little bit more precise. So we've got this raised panel lining down in here. So what we're trying to achieve is to keep it as good as we can. Okay, so we're just picking out centers and various things, and then again mixing it up, so up and down type side motions, and that's how we go about it. Okay, and we're just going to work our way down the rest of it. Here we got some metal, so again we're going to go right over it, so very lightly, don't push too hard. We're just going to buff across the metals just a little bit, and then what we do, we'll properly come back in a minute. So we're just going to come across these and then up. Okay, and then it's just that thing about finding all the different angles for getting in amongst everything as you make your way around. Okay, just coming in, and then under, and then across, and then again we're just going to use more of an up and down motion just here. And then what's happening is the clay is physically polishing up some of this stuff. So a lot of the times you'll get other techniques like this and it won't work as well because you need the clay. The clay is what's actually doing all of the work. Then under here we can actually do this nice big flat area. We can just pop in. And you can see this is what we're talking about, where you need to have every area sorted out, because here we've got a clean spot where we didn't put any of the actual wash, and you can see it's in there. So a way of getting rid of that, if you just lightly moisten a cloth, pick up some dust and dirt and then rub it over, you can blend that in just like this. Okay, so we sort of blended that in a little now, and now we can go back to what we were doing. Okay, right the way over the entire thing. Okay. Okay, let me just put my finger underneath the control surfaces just so we don't bend them off. Okay, but you can probably see the dust of this falling off, and that's just the clay. Right the way over, absolutely everything. Okay, and then down under here we've got these little dark spots, so again we'll just stick on those just a little bit, give them a rub. Okay, and then down here on this metal work we're just going to switch to the polisher. Now the reason for using the polisher is, one, it will polish the metal, which gives us a nicer metal effect, and also the metals do tend to be a little bit more softer. So that just goes in, and then what we're going to do is just going on the white side just to literally polish it to give it a better sheen and look. And then to be honest, we're going to do one side here to show the difference. So this is going to be the gloss side. Okay, so this is just going on the glossy. Compared with the engine, you can see it's got a little bit more gloss on this side. Very smooth. The other side's not quite as much. So we want to do that again. So again, flipping over to the white side. Yeah, it's all about layers and weathering and right the way up. Okay, so again we're just going to do down in here just to polish the metal. Okay, so it's got a really nice metal shiny look to it, literally just like that, and that is literally it. We've got that, just that inside of the tailplane to go. Alright, so again, got to do the rudders yet, things like that. But we're going to offset the angles on those, so that'll be very straightforward. And there we go. Alright, so again, when you get into these smaller areas, you can use smaller polishing sticks just to tidy up some of these little areas. And anything you want to do, and again, just the middle there. Just little metal ones just down in here. Okay, and that is literally how we're going about doing it. In this way, it's giving us a nice, worn, dirty, faded look. But also, hopefully you can see how those markings on tops of the wings are in total alignment with the rest of it. So there's no shininess, it's dirty, it's grubby, it's exactly what we wanted it to be. Alright, so we've got a little bit more work just down in this one. And again, even with these smaller things, these outer areas, so we're just keeping it in up tight. Okay, just that thing about keeping it all in alignment. So I'm just going to pop right over these. And there we go. So we've just got a small area. Last bit to do, just down at the front here. And then again, we can use other techniques just to tidy up. So just down in here, we've got a little bit of dirt going in. It's very difficult to get in. So again, we switch over to a skinny. That's the great thing about these, because these will get right in amongst all of this. And we can just clean out and we can get in amongst these little guys. Just down here at the front. And again, this is the whole point of using this type of approach, is that it's all very subtle and slow. Nothing's going to happen massively quickly. You know, each one of these layers is just a little layer which we're just going to work our way through. And there we go. So that's the underside, looking really grubby. There's our side, looking really nice. And obviously there's our top, looking pretty nice. And again, this is one of those things where, you know, quite frankly, you look at a model and you think, how are you going to recreate that type of thing? By using the Flory models, shameless plug, but it works. It's easy because it's actually recreating what's happening in real life. The clay is acting just like natural weathering. So it's not a product where you're having to push it and do it. You put it down, you leave it, you rub it off as you would in real life. That's exactly how we've achieved this area. And to be honest, this is glossy smooth as well. Because we've sanded it, it gives a great feel to it as well. So it's very, very tactile. Okay, but that is literally it. So what we're going to do, have a quick tidy up, check it around a few little places and everything else like that, and then we can actually think about getting it onto its gear, getting the pylons into it, and then coming through with further weathering.